Good evening, everybody. First and foremost, I want to welcome you all to my hometown of Mountain Lakes. I was mayor here for 3 years, and I grew up here. Absolutely adore the town, great town, and it's kind of fitting, I think, that we're here celebrating here tonight because our entire town is on the state and federal register of historic places. And this building, built in 1914, is a contributing structure. So I think it ties in really nicely. It's an honor for me to be here. I am Morris County Commissioner Stephen Shaw. We used to be known as freeholders, like the famous number 7, Frank Drexler over here. But state legislature felt that it was better that we be called commissioners, so people knew what we were, and every time I had to say, well, it's actually a freeholder, they go, oh, okay, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so it's really a neat building here, and you might on your way out, if you go down the back stairs, you'll see the 4 bowling lanes from 1939, the Brunswick lanes, manual scoring, and a league that's just finished its 85th year in operation, so that's kind of neat. So we're here, and I have a proclamation, a resolution from the Board of County Commissioners recognizing this event, 25 years. And I'm not going to read all the whereases because that gets a little boring. But I want to say this. I mean, 25 years, that's a quarter century. That's quite a milestone to be celebrating. And like I said, it's an honor for me to be here doing that. I always like to think about, it's easy to say 25 years, but you know, what were you doing? Where were you? What was going on in the world? 25 years ago, Clinton was our president. The internet was like just starting. There were no smartphones. Steve Jobs just came back to rescue Apple from going bankrupt, if you could imagine that. And we were all gearing up for Y2K, if you remember that. So it's just kind of interesting to put all that in perspective. So I think the other thing I always like to point out, and you'll learn this very quickly in public service, you can't do anything on your own. You have to work, forge partnerships and relationships to really get anything accomplished. And that's exactly what we have going on here with this foundation. The progress over the past 25 years highlights the value of perseverance and a shared vision in preserving historic sites here in Morris County. The successful preservation of the Ayres Knuth Farm complex underscores the importance of collective efforts and partnerships of various governments at all different levels. I've got a bunch of numbers here, and they can be a little boring, but of course, Denville stepped up to the plate in 1996 with $1.7 billion, first acquired through their open space trust fund, and then the County of Morris came in with $725,000 open space trust fund dollars. And I always say, I just said the County of Morris, but it's not the County of Morris, it's the people of Morris, it's the taxpayers. That's where that money comes, and we call it a trust fund because it's in trust. It's in the trust of the commissioner board and our volunteers that help guide us in dispensing those dollars. But it's always important because folks will thank us for a particular grant, and I say, well, it's really the taxpayers who always support the programs and all the different iterations through the years. And speaking of iterations of the open space program, we have our historic preservation component. So over $1 million of county historic preservation dollars have gone into the farm preservation, and then another $375,000 from the Open Space Trust Fund to further expand the property. So it's really a unique property. It's a great example of how preserved land could be multiple benefits, including active recreational facilities, soccer fields, passive recreation, woods, wetlands, historic farm complex, industrial and archaeological sites, all while active farming on the site. That's pretty amazing. And I know over the years, a lot of people have been involved. Like I said, it's partnerships, it's volunteers, it's folks working. But I do want to recognize the original folks incorporating the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation, Sue Schmidt, Howard Smolin, and Hank Muller. Really, we're going to recognize them for their work. So I don't know who would like to come up here to receive the resolution. I'm just going to read the final now, therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners, Morris County, New Jersey, the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation, be congratulated and commended for 25 years of dedicated service to preserving the historic Ayres Knuth Farm and fostering a lasting legacy for future generations. So, Sue, or whoever wants to come up here, or as many as you want. It's my honor to present this to you.
Thank you. I promised Julie Smolin that I would mention Howard's name on film. Ruth, get this on film? We need the audio. Howard is in Florida and couldn't make it up, but Hank remembers, as I do, in his kitchen with a typewriter, writing up the original forms so we could apply for the incorporation papers, and then writing them. That's right? Yes. So, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And I apologize ahead, I've got to speed up.
Can you one more photo with you turn it around?
That's a good idea.
Can you turn it around?
Thank you, Doug.
Through.
I have a joint resolution from the Senate and the Assembly. Senator Bucco was going to be here today. He and Aura Dunn had put this together. And of course, the joint resolution comes from Senator Bucco, Assemblywoman Dunn, Assemblyman Barranco, Senator Panaccio, Assemblyman Bergen, and Weber. And it acknowledges 25 years. There's a letter from the senator. There's also a letter from Aura Dunn. Senator Bucco and Assemblywoman Dunn are no longer, they're still in the 25th, but we're not in the 25th anymore. And so it's a little confusing for us because Assemblywoman Dunn and Senator Bucco and Senator Bucco's father were very supportive of all of our efforts and were always here for us. So as we said before, we're forging new associations and whatnot. And this is really a spectacular night to look back and think of all the people, and I hope you're looking over here. There are people like Howard Smolin, Julie Smolin, Jesse's here, Howard Squire, Betty Squire, Bunny Riker, Bob Riker, Carol Harden. I don't think there are any pictures of Bob Harden, but Howard Smolin and the Rikers and Bob Harden forged our original bylaws, and our thank yous to the late John Storsey for doing our incorporation papers. So there's just too many people to remember to say thank you to and acknowledge, and just hope that if Denville TV puts this on, that they'll see their names, and to the entire Floro family, thank you also for all of your support. Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, one more thing, don't leave. Trouble now. I want you to stay. So, anybody who knows Sue knows she doesn't like to be recognized, and she's told me many times that we should do a thing for you. So many of us got together from the foundation. We have a couple things to do. One,
If it's anything to clean the house, I don't want it.
so we have a plaque, and you can either put it in the farm or you can leave it to your children to find out who has to take it. So it's with greatest appreciation we hereby honor Sue Schmidt in recognition of your untiring commitment to the restoration and preservation of the Ayres Knuth Farm. And it's from the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation. So that is to you.
Photos in the back. She designed our logo, and it's on the plaque.
You want to use them now, please?
Sure, sorry.
Okay, sorry about that. So, the reason we did this is because Sue has been untiring in her help and in her efforts to, get the farm to where it is today. We all know that she spent hours and hours on, the applications and getting those grants, and it's a talent, but it's also a tremendous amount of time. And it's not just the grants that she's written for, it's the fact that once she gets a grant, she knows what's going on at the farm. If there's a problem at the farm, Sue's driven by, she's made sure somebody in the town knows, she's made sure that maybe Dave knows. Dave, where are you? Somebody's out there and working on it. And that's because Sue's always there. Many of us have kind of wandered back and forth. You know, we work at the farm, we do stuff for our own, gain. I leave, I go upstate with my husband, I come back, Sue's always here. So.
Sue's got no place to go.
But we wanted to let her know that we truly appreciate all the effort that she's made. We don't always disagree with you, but we really love the fact that she's done this. And then what we do, we have 3 photos for you that Mary took on a sunny day, and they are of the farmhouse and of the tenant house after the renovations. So you can choose these to put on your wall, you can, give them to your kid. But the point is, they're 3, but we wanted to have this because we felt that she really put a huge amount of effort, and we wanted her to know that we appreciate how much time she's put in. So, nothing more, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Thanking you for allowing me to say a few words as we celebrate the accomplishments of the foundation. Some 25 years ago, a small group of people who had hopes to prevent development on Ayres Knuth Farm and to preserve the farmhouse, barns, and other structures. It was a time where there was a shift in the community philosophy from chasing ratables to preserving open space. The farm was the 3rd jewel during the Jersey City watershed property and Cook's Pond as the 3 crown jewels of Denville. The founding members of the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation formulated a vision, one that ensured children would always have a farm in their community, and that by renovating the buildings would eventually develop the farm into a venue for the community to gather and enjoy. Getting started was slow, but over the years, momentum gathered, and 25 years later, although there will always be another project, and Sue will certainly make sure of that, significant improvements have been accomplished, which is very exciting. The work you have all done is excellent, and the farm looks great. Thank you to all the members for their commitment to the foundation. You are making the farm a showcase place of our community. With President Sue, would you please join me? Sue has as mayor, I find myself as the landlord of the property. Sue has a passion for the farm, and it is contagious. It has certainly been my pleasure to work with you, Sue. I have a proclamation, if you bear with me. And pardon me for the whereases, but I need to do this. Whereas the Ayres Knuth Farm property was first settled on and developed by Daniel Ayres, a successful farmer, circa 1793. William Ayres took over management of the farm after his father's death in 1856 and increased the property over 500 acres. And whereas William Ayres constructed the outbuildings, operated a water-powered cider mill, and sold lumber, apples, peaches, pears, until his retirement in 1896. In 1906, German immigrants, farmers Martin and Anna Knuth, purchased the farm, and their family retained life property for 90 years. And whereas the Knuths had a very prosperous farm, until Martin Knuth died in 1935. The property's insurance lapsed, and a lightning strike in the main barn caused a destructive fire. Faced with the loss from the fire and the economic depression in the 1930s, the farm was reduced to substantive level operations. And whereas Anna Knuth died in 1950, and her two children, Frank and Sue, took over the operations of the farm. They did not have electricity or indoor plumbing until the 1960s. They remained on the farm until their death in the early 1900s. And whereas a group of citizens with a vision and a common goal came together to preserve one of the last working farms in Morris County and lobbied the municipal and county governments to purchase the farm. In 1996, with financial assistance from the county, Denville was able to purchase nearly 52 acres of the original Ayres Knuth Farm for farming, historic preservation, and recreational activities. And whereas the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation was incorporated on July 13, 1998, with the purpose of engaged in recreational activities and protect and enhance the historical, agricultural, and environmental aspects of the farm. They raised and directed funds, organized volunteer efforts towards the multi-use open space facility, and have perpetually 25 years lease with the homestead section of the farm with the Township of Denville. And whereas the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation is 100% volunteer, they have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars collecting donations, selling Christmas trees, seeking grants, and have volunteered countless hours towards the labor of love. And whereas the Ayres Knuth Farm is listed on the state and federal register of historic sites, the foundation has hosted many events, including the Founders of History, Pathways to History tours, the 100th anniversary of World War I Mobile Museum, and their annual farm fair. And whereas Ayres Knuth Farm is now the oldest continuously run farm in Morris County, the property has been farmed by Union Hill Farms since 1986, has 2 youth soccer fields, and a walking trail is under construction by the Township of Denville. And whereas over the last 25 years, under the dedicated leadership of President Sue Schmidt, the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation has made significant strides. They turned the dilapidated old farm into a community showpiece by renovating the farmhouse, farm features, and the outbuildings to assure the children of Denville will always have a farm. Now, therefore, I, Thomas W. Andes, Mayor of the Township of Denville, proclaim May 9th as Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation Day, and June 13th to July 13th, 2024, as Ayres Knuth Farm Awareness Month, in celebration of the 25th anniversary of the incorporation of Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation. I extend a heartfelt appreciation and sincere thank you to the charter members of the foundation for their foresight, all members of the past and present for volunteering their time, labor, and fundraising efforts, and to Sue Schmidt for her over 25 years of distinguished service, focus, tenacity, leadership, and success of the Ayres Knuth Farm Foundation. I urge all our citizens to pay tribute to this special group of citizens in our community. And I would like to present this proclamation to Sue. And I hope you hangs it up in the farmhouse. I'd also like to present the key to the city for your great work.
Okay, number one, the table isn't large enough for all these things. And number two, I didn't come here tonight to be recognized. And none of this could have happened without the people that sit here, the people that used to sit here with us, and people who aren't here with us. This is something that a lot of people have done a lot of hard work with. Christina is very patient with me. She's our webmaster. In the middle of the night, she gets a message and she can make it happen. And the table is sitting by themselves. Tom Connolly and Margaret Hickey, they are our architects. Without their guidance, without their assistance, without their hard work, we wouldn't have a restored tenant's house, a restored farm. And we can tell you that we've dealt with other people who are not as dedicated knowledgeable, and easy to work with. And forgiving, that's a big word that you all do for me. You're very forgiving. And I don't know where Dave is, but Dave and Lou can go out in the middle of the night, deal with alarms and all kinds of stuff. So it's not just one person, it's many people. We were gonna give Mike Healy a seat because we had a chair for him and he never got his chair. When we all started this, Mike Healy was treasurer of the committee to preserve the Knuth Farm. He became the treasurer of the foundation. Hank's been treasurer. We go through treasurers, don't we? Megan was treasurer. Megan's not here. That's who's not here. But without Mike Healy's guidance, when we first talked about this project, Mike Healy said, that's a white elephant. It'll take you years to do that. Well, we've had over $1 million in grants just through the Morris County Historic Preservation Trust Fund. And that doesn't count the other grants that we've had and the fundraising that we've done. And Hank's sitting back there. Don't sit too close to Hank, because Hank gets ideas, some of which aren't all that good. It was Hank's idea. Let's do a Christmas tree sale. And Sue said, if you can hear the echo, Sue said, no, I don't like cold weather. Where's my husband? He will verify that. And Hank has been out there selling Christmas trees for almost 20, 25 years and passed it on to Dave. And they seem to be people who like to be out in the cold. I don't like to be out in the cold. I'll be supportive. I'll count the money inside, okay? No, but that was Hank's idea. So anybody who volunteers to sell Christmas trees, just look at Hank. He's the one that did it. Randy and Megan aren't here, and that's a shame because I really would like to have said thank you to them. They're supposed to be here, and I don't know who else isn't here. But to all the people who aren't here, and Fritz is going to put this out into the greater world, thank you to everybody who's been supportive and worked. We couldn't have done what we do without the Key Club, without, I'm going to forget all those things. If I start saying, I'll forget people's names and I'll forget organizations, because we didn't do this alone. None of us did this alone. This is all very lovely, but it's not me. It's everybody, even the people that aren't here. So thank you. And a round of applause for yourself.
Just a word about Sue. She kind of underplays her role. Sue is the force that made the Ayres Knuth Farm, that made the Knuth Farm go. She's been there in times when it was tough, selling Christmas trees in the rain, counting money in the rain. It's been a long haul, Sue, but you did a great job, and we all appreciate what you've done. She is definitely the driving force of the foundation. Thank you.
We should say that our thank yous to the band that has given so much to us tonight. And Dave does a lot more than just play the band. And Frank would like you to know that if it wasn't for the farm and building the stage, that all of this would not have happened. The band and
It's true.
It goes back to the last fall festival we did, which is 2011, right after Hurricane Irene. Anyway, we got a song for Sue. Again, I apologize in advance, Sue. No, this is a song by Lonnie Mack. It's called Satisfy Susie. Let me tell you about my baby. She's every man's dream. She could be the photo in a girly magazine. I got to satisfy Susie. Satisfy Susie. I got to satisfy Susie. Satisfy Susie. I got to satisfy Susie. Susie so satisfies me. I bought a brand new Chevy, keep you shine up in the drive. Shoot it to the limit, the Susie like you. I got to satisfy All right, Sue, that's for you. Super popular, right?